Good afternoon, and welcome to the end of week market review for Friday, April 12th, 2013. As you can see by our market barometer, we've got the US markets rising bullish and the Canadian markets declining bearish. Today we're going to be taking a look at a few things. Obviously, we're going to be starting with the market news and as well as the economic reports. We're then going to go ahead and look at some technical analysis charts for both the S&P 500 and the Toronto Stock Exchange. While we're here, we're going to be looking at daily and weekly charts. While on the weekly, we're going to be looking at both short and long term. We're then going to go ahead and look at our volatility index, and finally wrap things up with one of our great picks that showed up on one of our watch lists this week. So first off, we can see that the markets did end up down for the day, but they did end up making gains over the week. All in all, the Dow Jones is up 2.06% from last week's close. The S&P 500 is up 2.29% from last week's close. While looking at some of our commodities, we could see that oil is down 1.55% from last week's close. This puts it to $91.07 per barrel. Looking at silver, we can see that it's down 5.57% from last week's close. This puts it to $25.76 per ounce. Finally, gold is down 6.01%. This puts it to $1,486.80 per ounce. Finally, if you look at our US Canadian pair, we can see that it's down 0.43%. This puts it to 1.0130 pips. Right now we're looking at some economic reports throughout the week. What we'd really like to focus in on is from April 11th, which is our jobless reports. We can see that we brought in 346,000 versus the expected 355,000. Because we produced less than expected, we were able to see some positive influence in the markets. All right, right now we're looking at the S&P 500 on the daily chart. You're going to notice that we've just broken through some overhead resistance just a couple of days ago. What you're going to notice now, though, is that it looks like it's flattening out, where it could end up finding support back around 1575. If you look at the MACD, you can see that it's rising bullish and with the black line over top of the blue line. While looking at the S&P 500 on the weekly chart, you're going to see the tight trading range that's been put in place since the beginning of November. You're going to see that we've definitely had our ups and our downs, but all in all, it's still trading very comfortably within this trading range. It won't be until it breaks down below support that we would show concern. And here we're looking at the S&P 500 weekly chart again. This time we're looking at 5 years worth of data. Really, we're doing this just so we could see how high things have been. And you can see that we've had a huge run since around the November of 2012. But we've definitely had our dips, we've definitely had our pullbacks, but all in all, very bullish, very aggressive trading since the beginning here of 2009. Right now we're looking at the Toronto Stock Exchange. You're going to see that on its daily chart we broke down below a key level of support, with us now looking for some support at a previous cycle low. Right now the MACD is declining bearish and with the black line down below the blue line. So although we do have some support around 12,300, we're not going to be that confident in it, because when we have declining bearish situations, we know that it's very possible to continue declining. Here we're looking at the TSX on a weekly chart. We've got about 1 year worth of data. You can see that the TSX is just coming up to some major support. It actually looks like it might have just dipped down below that today. So all in all, the TSX is looking weak, but we are seeing some stability right now. If we look back at the TSX on a 5-year chart, you're going to see a few things. First off, we've got that level of support that we've drawn, but we've got some overhead resistance that is now acting like some support. So we've got 2 points here that are acting like support and will be doing their best to keep the markets up. Again, given the market conditions, it is very likely that we'll see further declines. Right now, we're looking at the volatility indicator. You're going to notice that it's currently at 12.06. This puts it right within its normal trading range, which happens to be between 12 and 14. But if you compare this to last week, you can see that it's currently down 3.36%. All right, what we've got here is a pick that showed up on our basic watch list on April 8th, 2013. The company's ticker was ONNN. So what we're doing here is we're looking at the day that it showed up on the watch list. You can see a nice healthy white candle with the 5 EMA rising. Although the daily EMAs aren't aligned, we can see that the 5 EMA is crossing up over the 50. So we would expect a small pullback because of these unaligned EMAs. At the same time, we can see that the MACD was rising bearish, and with the black line just crossing through the blue line. Our stochastics and our RSI were both rising and both within the trading range below 80 and below its cycle highs. And finally, we can see that the volume was rising over the day. And on the next screen, we're going to show you where we got our entry price from, but you're going to see that entry price was at $8.15. When we pulled back the next day down to the 22 EMA, it did end up going down and getting our order filled. A day later, it ended up going as high as $8.62. All in all, this means that we have a return of 5.77% on that single trade. Here we're looking at that same stock. This time we've zoomed in onto the hourly chart so we can explain how we came up with our entry price of $8.15. You can see that the EMAs were aligned with the 5 EMA rising and the MACD bullish. Our disciplines tell us that we'd be getting in halfway between the 5 EMA and the closing price. When you take the average of those two, you ended up with $8.15. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to either email us or phone us at training@idealtradinglifestyle.com or calling us toll free 1-888-942-0266. Just make sure that you're dialing extension number 5. And obviously, we'd like to remind you that whenever you're trading, you are going to be taking some risk. So make sure that you're always trading within the boundaries that you've set. Any trade decisions that you make are your own, so always exercise caution. This has been the end of week market review for Friday, April 12th, 2013. Ciao for now.